Hello, it's Amy Rofail with the Friday Red Alert Report for the Jerusalem Connection. It's February 26th. BDS, Deception versus Truth. Boycott, divest, and sanction. Those are the letters and terms for BDS. Specifically, it targets the state of Israel and the Jewish people, though these ideas are nothing new in history. For example, the latter half of the 20th century Arab League movements included consistently rallying the world to boycott Israel in order to provide economic pressures and ultimately remove them from the map. In the previous part of the 20th century, Europe used these measures, identifying Jewish businesses and encouraging the citizenry not to patronize them in order to put financial pain on the Jewish people of the land. This, of course, led to the Holocaust. This all stems from the same consistent set of lies that has permeated the heart of anti-Semitism since the start of recorded history. Let's remember, in the book of Esther, the Babylonian Empire also set out to identify the Jewish people and ultimately exterminate them. However, this first recorded event also included the thwarting by Esther, Hadassah as she's known in Hebrew. So be all that as it may, the BDS movement and its predecessors seem to all rely on this lie that the state of Israel, or the Jewish people as it were, are somehow the cause of the ills of the world, the cause of people's problems, unfairness in the world, or oppression. This, of course, is not the case. This is both a spiritual war and a very physical war in reality, a war of ideas and a war of truth versus lies. To some, truth may seem subjective, that it's an inductive argument, but to others, those who support the nation of Israel and the Jewish people, find it quite objective. Historical evidence, historical recordings from biblical sources and extra-biblical sources, archaeological findings, and recent recorded history, when analyzed carefully, will find that the Jewish people, and more recently the state of Israel, has done nothing but contribute to the world, contribute to science, to technology, to innovations, and to culture. And yet they are constantly scapegoated as the core of the problems that plague the Middle East, and sometimes even other parts of the world. Of course, this is done unfairly and through lies. So how does a lie, in the information age, an age where we have instant access to information, blogs, hundreds of networks on the TV and the computer, is the lie then not exposed? It's because the spiritual nature of this battle between truth and lie does not require any particular medium. It will still prevail. However, the light and darkness may always be in conflict, but we are confident that the light will win. The BDS movement, among other places, seems to find its nesting in college campuses, particularly in the West and in the U.S. Western college campuses try to foster a sense of community and contribution to its young students, and often these students come to school open-minded, willing to learn, and wanting to make a difference in the world. They seek out causes that help people who are oppressed, highlight progressive movement ideas, and also include things like helping minorities or women or children or religious minorities or the homosexual community. Ironically, the BDS movement hijacks these more legitimate human rights efforts and brings into campus the notion that the state of Israel, or sometimes the Jewish people, are the cause of these problems, when, ironically, with a careful analysis of the truth, Israel is the only place these types of people or these issues actually have any protection. One such example is the BDS movement seems to use this term apartheid to apply to the state of Israel. Every year they have Apartheid Week, where they spend lots of effort and time to rally students to support their cause, to boycott Israel and protest them for the so-called apartheid and their oppressive measures against the Palestinian people. The fact of the matter is, most of these college students, while they have some familiarity with the term apartheid, have very little knowledge of the actual facts and instances and conditions that happened in South Africa. Indeed, the victims and the people who have risen out of the apartheid state in Africa have openly and publicly and with great expression exclaim that Israel is not an analogy for the apartheid in South Africa, and in fact they are assaulted when this is used. That said, these kind-hearted students often get caught up in the frenzy of wanting to blame someone, so they believe the lies and blame the state of Israel and participate in the BDS movement actions. So articulating and evangelizing the truth that is the history of the Jewish people and the current state of Israel, is the only way to combat these lies. These lies that woo our college students into an intrinsic anti-Semitic movement that they don't even realize they're slipping into. And that hatred, often with careful study, overbears the actual conditions that cause the suffering of the Palestinian people, the suffering of minorities, homosexuals, women, Yazidis, Druze, other sects of Islam in the Middle East. It is not by the hands of the Israelis that these people are suffering. There is a psychological term that identifies the seemingly misshapen look at reality, this backwards look of viewing reality. It's called projection. I believe the great deceiver, the one who is at the core of the spiritual battle between light and darkness, between lies and truth, that he suffers from this psychological deficit and is using it effectively to project the very ills of the people that have instigated the oppression and caused the problems onto the very people in the Middle East who are trying to solve them, or at least not add to them. But do not be dismayed. I believe that the light will always outshine the darkness. However, this candle must be fueled and spread by us, people who know the truth and who want to articulate it and share it. Don't let lies on the news or on college campuses take hold. Combat it with truth. Shine a light on it. Shavua Tov. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.